Max was driving his Model 3 down the highway in Oak Grove, Kentucky. He was in the right lane using Autopilot when he approached a semi-truck driving in the left lane. The truck had been riding in the left lane for a few miles, so Max decided to continue past him in the right lane. Just as he was passing, the truck driver changed lanes, clipping the back end of the Tesla. That caused the Model 3 to spin out in front of the semi, but the driver didn't notice and just kept driving, pushing Max along in front of him at 70 miles per hour. Autopilot warned Max just before the two vehicles made contact, but it was too late for him to avoid the accident. He also says Autopilot attempted to steer away from the truck, but the force of the semi pushing it was too much for the steering to fight back against. The semi pushed Max for approximately half a mile before the driver finally stopped, apparently because he felt that there was something wrong. He felt some resistance against his truck, but he never saw the Tesla. It wasn't until the truck completely stopped that the driver finally saw people jumping out from in front of him. When he opened his door, he saw the Tesla for the first time. Let this be a lesson. Blind spots are dangerous. Police were called to the scene, and the Model 3 was towed to a body shop. The truck driver was found to be at fault, and the repair estimate came to $20,000 US. Repairs took 2 months to complete due to parts delays. Max had only owned his Tesla for a few weeks, so it has now spent more time in the shop than it spent being driven. He's looking forward to getting back behind the wheel. Anthony was merging his Model Y onto a highway in Richmond, Virginia. Traffic was moving slowly when multiple cars merged at the same time. The driver behind Anthony hit his brakes to slow down, but the vehicle behind him was following too closely and had to swerve out of the way to avoid a rear-end collision. Unfortunately, the driver lost control in the process. When the car lost control, it came within inches of Anthony's Tesla. It barely missed, instead hitting the rear tires of a semi-truck before flipping over. Luckily, the car landed back on its wheels and no other vehicles were involved in the accident. Anthony called 911 and offered to share the footage with the Virginia State Police. Roy was giving his cousin a ride home in his Model 3 in Union, New Jersey. Watch what happened when they were just a block away from his cousin's house. A Honda Civic ran a stop sign and T-boned them. Roy says it was definitely a Honda bump and a serious one. The police quickly arrived at the scene and the other driver lied to them, telling them that Roy had run a stop sign. Roy showed the officer the Teslacam footage, which clearly shows that he didn't have a stop sign, and the officer immediately knew the Honda driver was lying. Roy and his cousin were able to walk away from the accident, but both of them now have to receive physical therapy to recover. An insurance claim was filed, and the car was deemed a total loss after being inspected. Thankfully, the used car market is high, so Roy was actually able to get more than what he paid for the car. He's got an order in for a Model Y to replace the Model 3, but he'll have to wait until January to get it. In the end, Roy's just happy everyone walked away from the crash. He asked us to give a shout out to the sneakers company he's running with his brother, the Sneaker Brothers. It seems like the least we can do in return for the great story. Thanks for sharing, Roy, and we hope your physical therapy is going well. Paul had just parked his Model 3 on Main Street in Westminster for a minute, and he was still sitting in his car when a dark SUV rolled by and a passenger in the back seat sprayed the side of his car with something. He thought it was just water, but the next morning the car had white residue all over the side, right where it had been sprayed. Luckily, Paul was able to wash the residue off, and now the car looks fine. Paul called the Westminster Police Department and filed a report the next day. A police officer told him that a pedestrian had been sprayed in the same manner a few weeks ago by someone in a dark SUV. The police officer asked for the video to see if their IT guys could determine the SUV's license plate number. He also said it seemed like they had sprayed a mixture of water and rubbing alcohol. While Dick was crossing the New River Gorge Bridge in West Virginia, a Chevy truck pulling a trailer came speeding up behind him. When the truck drove over the expansion joint of the bridge, the trailer pin fell out. We can even see the pin bounce down the road from the driver's side camera. We can also see that the truck driver didn't have any safety chains attached to his trailer. Dick immediately noticed the loose trailer and slowed down to watch where it went. Fortunately, traffic was very light, so he was able to get around it without incident. The truck driver realized what happened and pulled over, and since there was no accident, Dick continued on. Brian was driving his Model Y in Mesa, Arizona when traffic suddenly stopped in front of him on the freeway. Brian saw a car coming flying up behind him and moved out of the way before realizing that the Honda Accord had already been smashed into by another Honda Accord. Ladies and gentlemen, a double Honda bump. Brian ran over to check on both drivers, and everyone involved was okay. When the police arrived, he was able to give them a copy of the Teslacam video. Justin was driving his Model 3 on the freeway in Cerritos, California, when a tire came off a truck on the opposite side of the freeway and bounced over the median. Fortunately, every car was able to avoid hitting it as it made its way to the shoulder. Check out the reaction of this pickup driver. He really saved the day. Nice move, man. Ken had parked his Model 3 at a local store, and when he got back, he found this Sentry mode event. Some guy was checking out his car, and Ken thought he was just appreciating the Tesla, but then he did this. Wynn was driving his Model Y in Cutler Bay, Florida, when he spotted a different Ken. Ken Block, that is. Okay, we can't confirm this is actually Ken Block, but when Wynn approached a roundabout, let's just say this guy was definitely using it to its full capacity. Russ was heading back to the Hudson Valley from Maine when a car in the middle lane tried to overtake a semi-truck without checking his blind spot. Luckily, both vehicles were able to maintain control. Aaron was driving his Model Y in Rogers, Minnesota when he witnessed Thor drop the hammer. Michael Moore was driving his Model Y in Columbia, South Carolina. He tells us that he's not that Michael Moore. So, not that Michael Moore was driving along on a highway when a car carrier slowed down heading up a hill. When they reached the crest of the hill, the other trucks tried to pass, but then the car carrier was able to speed back up. After a long wait for the other trucks to finally pass the car carrier, the driver of a pickup truck decided he wanted to take a shortcut right as a truck changed lanes. Luckily, an accident was avoided, but I think we've shown in this episode that it's important to show respect for truck drivers' blind spots. They are not to be messed with. Gino was crossing an intersection on a green light when he saw an SUV approaching from the right, clearly about to run the red light. Gino didn't have much time to react, so he just moved to the left to avoid a T-bone collision. The SUV ended up scratching the entire right side. Gino called the police to get a report number for his insurance claim. The girl in the Toyota SUV was a high school student, and apparently she was doing homework on her cell phone when this happened. It was a quiet night at 2:50 a.m. when, bam! Jay was woken up by a super loud crashing sound. He checked his security cameras and found that a hit-and-run accident had occurred right outside. Apparently, the offender came back the next day to find the owner of the car they'd hit, and they were able to settle everything. Jay is so glad he doesn't park on the street. Aaron was at a local store picking up a new SSD to use with Teslacam to finally get rid of the digital artifacts, choppy recordings, pink screens, etc. That's when Sentry Mode caught one last incident on his old thumb drive. Okay, what do we have here? A shopping cart? Uh-oh. I think we know where this is going. The cart demon is about to strike again. Phew, that was a close call. Wait, now what's he doing? Oh no, no, no! A van pulled up, at first stopping short of the cart, but then bumping it anyway. Aaron's Model 3 has a paint protection film wrap, so thankfully there wasn't any damage. Looks like the guy got out of his van to find a shopping cart parked conveniently right in front of him. What a lucky day! Maybe this incident wasn't the work of the cart demon, but he definitely exists, and we've lined up a few videos to prove it. Rob was driving his Model 3 in a parking lot in Belgium when he saw the cart demon going full send with a fully loaded cart. Luckily, the guy managed to stop the cart before it did any damage. Maximilian was at the supercharger in Fountain Valley, California, and another Tesla driver was too lazy to put his shopping cart in the cart return. This is just the kind of laziness that the cart demon depends on, folks. Maximilian was sitting in his car when the cart started to roll directly toward him. Fortunately, the guy caught it before it hit the Tesla. Maximilian says the guy was so lazy that instead of putting it in the cart return after it almost hit a car, he positioned it about 10 yards away from the cart return. Here's another video from Max, and in it, he's back at the supercharger in Fountain Valley, California. Evidently, some other lazy Tesla owners had left a cart for the cart demon, but that's actually not what this clip is about. Check this out. Convertible Model 3. Max says he's seen these online, but this was the first time he'd seen one in the wild. This Model 3 convertible is the handiwork of Newport Convertible Engineering, which is headquartered in Huntington Beach, California. They've been in business for 37 years. An unpowered convertible top will set you back around $30,000 US. If you want the powered version, it will cost you about $40,000 US. The conversion process takes about 2 months to complete due to a lengthy 7-step process that involves stripping the interior, reinforcing the car's body, and making all the necessary cuts. Do you think it's worth the time and money? Leave a comment and let us know. Christian had just turned off the highway when a lawnmower shot a rock right into his driver's side door. A local body shop gave him an estimate of $813 US to repair the damage. Alex was on his way to school, and just before he turned into the school parking lot, he saw a vehicle spinning around in his rearview mirror. He instantly recognized it as his friend's pickup truck. A lady had exited a parking lot and T-boned the pickup. Alex parked his car and rushed over to check on his friend. The fire station was a few blocks away from the intersection, and firefighters arrived in a matter of seconds. Luckily, everyone involved was okay, but the pickup truck was deemed a total loss. Okay, we actually have one more video lined up for you this week, and it's not just any video. Are you guys sitting down? We actually got a video submission from a Mach-E owner who was playing around with a Model 3 on the freeway. The Mach-E owner, who asked us to call them Mach-E are better, we're not sure about that, had an aftermarket Dashcam running which also captured the audio from inside the car. The submitter says he was racing the Tesla, but the voice of reason was constantly in his ear.
Let him get the ticket. Let him get the ticket. Stop it.
There's no ticket.
His wife did not approve of the speeding and continuously warned him about the possibility of getting caught by the
Pulled over. I'm
police.
telling the officer to give you a ticket.
I know.
I'm not even kidding. I'm not joking.
Let's just say that this is one of those times you hope your wife is wrong.
Your ticket will be very high. You will get reckless driving. You are reckless right now. It is reckless driving right now. Your father. It won't just be, it will be an insane amount of money that you'll have to pay. And you will get like 7 points taken. There's a cop right there.
Yep. Yep. You don't care.
Oh my gosh. Was he not even paying attention? They're laughing too. It's a girl driving. Oh my gosh! That was hilarious.
Yeah.
We have to agree that was hilarious. Have a great week, everyone. Catch you on the flip side.